Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the September 20th, 2016 meeting of the Burke County Board of Commissioners. Our chairman is present tonight, however, he's not feeling well, so he's asked me to chair the meeting. So again, let me welcome you. Madam Clerk, the commissioners are present, along with the attorney. I will ask you to silence your mobile devices and ask if you come to the microphone tonight that you speak clearly into the microphone. This time we'll have the invocation by Pastor John White from the Morganton First Assembly of God, and then the Pledge of Allegiance by the Girl Scout Troop 2241 with Teresa Hickton, Troop Leader. Let's all stand together, please.
Father, we are grateful for your grace and your mercy that has allowed us to be in this place. We're grateful, Lord, for the grace and the mercy that you have bestowed upon us to allow us to live in such a wonderful place called America. And Lord, it is now time for the people to gather to do business. And I ask that through the power of God, that you will rest upon these men that you have appointed as leaders over us. Would you give them creativity of thought? Would you give them divine wisdom as they try to lead and guide and deal with the multiplicity of problems and issues that face all of us here in this wonderful county? Now, Lord, we commit ourselves and our time and our energies into your care. You're the greatest caregiver we've ever known. It's in that wonderful name, Jesus Christ, that we ask. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. Hey, girls, lead us in our pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Girls, if you'll come right in front here, we want to come down and get our picture with you. All right, that brings us to item number 4 of our agenda tonight, which is the approval of meeting minutes. We have before us minutes from June the 7th, Board of Commissioners pre-agenda meeting, June 7th, Board of Commissioners regular budget meeting, June 21, Board of Commissioners regular meeting, August 16, Board of Commissioners regular meeting, September 20th, extract of meeting minutes. I would entertain a motion to approve these.
So moved.
Peter Jack's motion, all in favor? The uplifted hand, please. I believe that's all of us, Madam Clerk. Also, number 5, now we come to approval of the agenda. We did have decision item number 1 on the agenda in the event that it was needed. However, there is not a need for that item on the agenda, so I would ask that we approve the agenda with that item being removed. Do I hear a motion that occur?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Heard Wayne's motion. All in favor, raise your hand, please. 5-0, Madam Clerk. All right, this evening we have a number of presentations to come before this body. The first presentation is from Burke Recovery, proclamation declaring September 2016 as National Recovery Month. That'll be presented by Joe Marks, Burke Recovery Executive Director. Joe, welcome.
Welcome and thank you. And once again, I'm humbled and honored to be in front of such a distinguished Board of Commissioners. And thank you for proclaiming this Recovery Month in Burke County. September is Recovery Month, and for a person who has struggled with drugs or alcohol, mental illness, addiction to the internet, an eating disorder, struggling with cancer, or what other hardships life throws their way, each moment in recovery is a time to celebrate. Receiving encouragement from friends and family shows how much they are loved and supported on their journey. This past Sunday, folks gathered in the historic Burke Morganton Square to celebrate recovery. We had nearly 300 folks come out to show their support for sustained recovery and show how wonderful life is. But more than that, they were a true beacon of attraction and light for those folks on the fringe. I can't tell you how many people I talked to that were looking for AA meetings to go to, maybe a homeless shelter to go to. And we were there. There were like 18 different providers that were there to put out their hand. There were the number of people who shared their stories on recovery to give people some hope. One of the things we had that I want to share with you, I'll probably start crying because this stuff really touches my heart, but we had a recovery wall, and the recovery wall was simply 2 pieces of plywood put up on some 2x4s with paper wrapped around it that people could go and write thoughts and what recovery and what that life, a new life, means to them. And a couple of the phrases were like, never alone, never again. The light burns brighter every day were among some of the inspirational words that were presented. One participant expressed their gratitude for recovery from cancer. Another about their brother who had just found his way into a treatment program up in Black Mountain. By supporting Recovery Month and proclaiming it Recovery Month in Burke County, you commissioners help break the stigma. The stigma that surrounds addiction, that people who are addicts or alcoholics are bad people. We're not bad people at all. Deep down inside each and every one of us, there's a fundamental idea of God and a true spirit. And we're just sick, and we need help. So by proclaiming it Recovery Month in Burke County, you help break that stigma. My hat's off to you. I applaud you for that, and I thank you.
Thank you, Joe, and thank you for all the great work that you do and your organization does for our folks in Burke County. We do have before us tonight a proclamation. I want to read just the first line because it stresses the magnitude of what we're talking about here. Whereas an estimated 12,500 people are in recovery in Burke County, 1.4 million people are in recovery in North Carolina, and 45 million people are in recovery across our nation. This proclamation goes on. I won't take time to read all that tonight, but we appreciate again the work you do. Do I hear a motion that this proclamation be approved?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
All in favor, show the up hand. Thank you very much. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Second matter for presentation is the Community Development Over Mountain Victory National Historic Trail Master Plan. This will be presented by Scott Carpenter, Deputy County Manager and Planning Director. Good evening, Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and board members. Today I'm proud to present that the Community Development Department did receive the 2016 Marvin Collins Outstanding Planning Award, and that's awarded by the North Carolina American Planning Association. So my staff members went to Asheville last week and received this at a luncheon. This particular award is for a multidisciplinary project, and it was for the Over Mountain Victory National Historic Trail plan that we did from Lenore to Morganton. This is actually one half of the plan. The other half of the plan was from Morganton to Lake James. So this is awarded by the organization for plans that result in cost savings, more timely implementation, and improved quality and design. The awards committee found that this particular plan was a model for public engagement. They were also impressed with the high quality and short duration of the planning process, given the numerous jurisdictions and breadth of work that was involved in putting this plan together. We had 8 jurisdictions and public and private working together on this plan.
Thank you, Scott. Some great work there. We congratulate the community development staff for all that you've done. Let's give them a hand. Scott, just stand still right there. Let's get a Right, our next presentation comes from Finance. We want to recognize our Fire Marshal, Mike Long, on his retirement. And Mr. Himes will take care of that for us.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair, members of the board. Tonight, we have the pleasure of recognizing one of our longtime dedicated county employees, our County Fire Marshal and Emergency Management Director, Mike Long. He's decided to retire at the end of this month, but he will be continuing his dedicated service to the community by teaching in the Burke County school system. So we applaud Mike. And Mike, if you want to come on up here, just a little bit, about Mike's employment with the county. He actually started back in 1987 as an emergency medical technician with the EMS department. He actually went full-time from there, and I've got these dates written down so I wouldn't forget them here, but he went full-time on February 1st, 1992, when he was appointed as the county's first fire inspector. And then later, on November 30th, 1997, he was promoted to Deputy Fire Marshal. On August 20th, 2012, he took over his current role as both County Fire Marshal and Emergency Management Director. On a personal note, I know from the years that I've worked with Mike, since we've got about the same number of years in, but I started in 91, Mike started full-time in 92. It's certainly been a pleasure to work with Mike. I don't know, I hope everyone understands and appreciates the time and energy that Mike has brought to the job and the county. A lot of his work probably goes unnoticed. And I know he's, as far as grants in the county, I don't know that anybody works any harder than this man in bringing money into the county and the benefits he has to the emergency medical service, emergency management field in Burke County. So, again, on a personal note, I thank Mike for everything he's done. He's a great co-worker. His cooperation and energy he brings to the county is, I don't know anybody that does better. So I wish him well. I mean, there's a little bit of sadness that I'm doing this because I wish he could continue, but it's a great opportunity he's got. So on behalf of the board, I would like to present Mike with a plaque that references the important employment dates that I've just mentioned, as well as the 3 badges that he has worn time with the county. So, Mike, I wish you well in everything you do, and we thank you for everything you've done for us.
you and Brian were supposed to come. He didn't stay in with Burke County. What happened here? I thought we left the last meeting. I thought you guys had it all figured out.
As long as I could hold out hope.
This wasn't supposed to happen tonight. But this is a special award from the state of North Carolina, signed by the governor, Pat McCrory, and for people who have served their community well for a long time. And it's just with great pleasure that I give you the state of North Carolina the Order of the Longleaf Pine, which is
I guess you've been moving up the lake. I'll keep it short and sweet. This was probably one of the hardest decisions I've made, but I've done it for 30 years. I got up every morning and come to work or went to a job that really wasn't a job. It's a field that I enjoyed from the time I started working in Morganton in 86 to when I leave here on the 30th. I couldn't ask for a better person to work for with Paul and Brian. You take it to them, you explain it to them, they'll work with you, whatever. The board's been great to work with the last 4 years that I've had to come before you. I know you all can't agree on everything, but it's good to see you harmonize and be friends when you leave here, because everybody has a different outlook on what they want to see accomplished in the county. And I think we're heading in the right direction in Burke County, especially with the emergency service as far as the sheriff's department goes and EMS. And again, I appreciate everything that the board has done for me as far as working.
Mike, would you like to introduce your family for us?
I can.
Since they're here?
I can.
Yeah.
My wife helped me make the decision on going.
we got to talk to her a little bit.
I was with that. I guess she's over 30 years of getting woke up at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. It wasn't only me answering the phone, but she was laying there beside of me getting woke up along with it. And we got to experience it again yesterday morning about 5 o'clock. The phone rang and I went out on the fire. So my wife Pam, my daughter Fallon, granddaughter Taylor, and grandson Titus.
Again, Mike, we appreciate your service. You've done a great job for Burke County. Congratulations. And we'll be having a retirement celebration for Mike on September 29th from 4 to 6 in this room. So come by and wish Mike well. All right, at this time we'll hear from Senior Services presentation on an award that they have received, and we'll hear from Roxanne Powell, Senior Services Director.
Thank you very much. Burke County Senior Services is proud to be the recipient of the North Carolina Seniors Health Insurance Information Program Statewide County of the Year Award, also known as NC SHIP. Both of our county senior centers in Morganton and Hildebrand serve as counseling and enrollment sites for the NC SHIP Medicare program. This award is in recognition of our outstanding achievements and services to the citizens of North Carolina through SHIP counseling and outreach events here in Burke County. In 2016, we far exceeded our goal and increased our client contacts by 270%. Additionally, our public and media outreach activities increased 233% over the previous year. As a result, Burke County Senior Services assisted consumers in saving over $237,000 in 2015. Based on this past year's grant performance, our grant award for SHIP has also been increased to $4,803. During the open enrollment period of October 15 through December 7, our counselors help Medicare beneficiaries compare Part D prescription drug plans to determine their most affordable plan options. Monthly, we host a Medicare 101 class introducing a new consumer to Medicare and Medicare supplement plans. Counselors are also available to help individuals to apply for the Extra Help Low-Income Subsidy Program. This is a program that's available for those with limited incomes to decrease their Medicare drug premiums and also limit their co-payments for their medications. Following a recent receipt of a proclamation declaring September 19th as North Carolina SHIP Day, Burke County Senior Services has asked consumers to help us in our special advocacy event by completing a happy 30th birthday to SHIP. This is a card that will be forwarded to local, state, and federal legislators. Our new initiative has also been recognized by the North Carolina Ship Office in Raleigh and is going to be recommended as a best practice. This staff at Burke County Senior Services, we're very excited to serve Burke County's Medicare participants again this year. Medicare enrollment forms are currently available, and with individual counseling appointments, employer group meetings, and community outreach and enrollment clinics scheduled. And we are already busy, but we wanted to share our excitement and news with you today.
Well,
With me today, if I could share, I have Amanda Clark. She is our Burke County SHIP coordinator, and also Gladys Anson. She is our assistant director, and she's at the East Burke Senior Center.
more great work going on here in Burke County. Let's give these folks a great hand.
And we want a picture. That's right.
Okay, Ed, let's see if we can keep this ball rolling. We're doing well tonight. We have Ed Phillips, our tourism director, to report on tourism.
Well, good evening, and I have a PowerPoint that'll be presented tonight as well. But I wanted to tell you I appreciate the opportunity to come before you tonight and talk about tourism. It is an economic engine in Burke County and has been for about 150 years. Visitors have been coming to Burke County for various reasons. I want to remind you that our authority was created in 2007 by the North Carolina General Assembly. We have a 9-member board of directors. Currently, our chairperson is Polly Ledbetter with Lake James Real Estate. Also serving on the board is Sharon Jablonski, representing the city of Morganton, Marissa Angie from Valdez, Kurt Teague, Hike More Adventures, which is out of Jonas Ridge, Joey Wakefield from Steel Creek Park, and also Jonas Ridge Snow Tubing, Teresa Selman from the Inn at Glen Alpine, Commissioner Abley from Abley's, Angel Crawley with the Comfort Inn and Suites, and also Commissioner Jack Carroll. Paul Imes is our county finance director and ex officio member. We're funded by a 6% tax that's added to hotel, motel, cabin, and vacation rentals and other accommodations. Our budget for the last fiscal year, which ended on June 30th, was $355,000. Both Morganton and Valdez receive a portion of the accommodations tax for tourism marketing, approximately $80,000 for Morganton and $42,000 for Valdez. That has to be used in advertising, marketing, public relations activities. So what are our objectives? The things that we really want to do are increase the number of visitors to Burke County, increase visitation to Burke County, and also increase occupancy tax revenue to Burke County or inside of Burke County, which is a direct result of more tourists. Also create new jobs directly and indirectly related to tourism, and also, like I'm doing tonight, share more information. Success. In 2015, we had a 2.9% increase in visitor spending, which now tops $94 million a year. Our occupancy tax revenue, which ended on June 30th of 2016, was up 12.5% over the previous year. We also just recently learned that July, Paul let me know within the past few days, we had the first month in which we collected more than $50,000 in occupancy tax. It's the first time in the history of Burke County tourism that's happened. We had a June media tour, which attracted 10 journalists from 4 states, and we found that our media tours provide a 100-to-1 return on our investment. For every dollar spent, we get $100 back in media coverage. We also have strategies that include print advertising, social media campaigns such as Facebook and Twitter, lots of press releases. We also have a billboard on I-40. It's a double-stack billboard. It used to say, until last week, Fun Updated Daily. It was talking about all the fun things to do in Burke County. And last week, we switched it back to our Fall Color Reports, Updated Daily. Our Fall Color Reports, which we do literally issue every day in the month of October, have been picked up by media all over the Southeast, from Knoxville to Charlotte and Greensboro, Winston-Salem, and Raleigh. And we promote that as not only the Burke County Fall Color Report, but also the foothills of western North Carolina. Like I mentioned earlier, we also do news releases, media tours, and media requests. We recently had the opportunity to issue a press release that said, "Scientists capture rare images of the Brown Mountain Lights." And if you go to the next slide, there it is. And the Charlotte Observer headline read, "Bang, the Brown Mountain Lights are back in business." And we capitalize on that. It's an anomaly. It's something unique and different here in Burke County. And it brings attention to us, and then we're able to tell those folks about all the other great things to do in our area. On our media tour, but this was back in June, this was actually over at South Mountain State Park where we did a ranger-led hike. And we had journalists there that went back and wrote all about the great things to do. And when we have a media tour, we cover all the county. We went everywhere from Valdez to South Mountains to Lake James, and really all over the county. And there's another photo of our group standing up at High Shoals Falls in South Mountains. Also like to remind you, in a Bet You Didn't Know page, that we have the deepest gorge east of the Rockies, the Linville Gorge. We have the largest state park in North Carolina, the South Mountains, that continues to grow. In 2014, the state park of the year was Lake James. And we're also the only county in North Carolina with 2 state parks, but I'm told that's getting ready to change. We also have the second oldest outdoor drama in North Carolina from this day forward. So our marketing results in 2015, we saw 3,491 visitors at our visitor center, which is up 30% over 2014. We also had 50-plus newspaper and magazine articles covering Burke County. There's also a photo of the Burke Visitor Center, which we market. We also continue to see what we call film-induced tourism. That is, where a film is made and people come to see where the film is made. And the Hunger Games, which was filmed in Burke County, a part of it, down at Henry River, we continue to see visitors, and this summer we saw visitors from all over the world come to see that site. It's interesting because it is one of the few public sites. I mean, it's on private property, but it's easily accessible, and so folks are able to see it. The attractions in Burke County that are publicly owned include Lake James and South Mountain State Parks, the Pisgah National Forest, the Linville Gorge, Linville Falls, Catawba Meadows Park, the Greenway, and the Blue Ridge Parkway. We also have significant attractions that bring visitors here, including 5 wineries and vineyards, 2 craft beer breweries and tasting rooms. Also, Apple Hill Orchard, which I might add, is picking apples right now. And I've been down there and I got me some Honeycrisp apples a few weeks ago, which was my favorite. And they still have a lot of apples going on. The outdoor drama from this day forward, the Beanstalk Journey Zip Line, Steel Creek Park Campground and day use area. Also in Valdez, the Trail of Faith and Festival of Lights. And up in the higher elevations in the wintertime, Jonas Ridge snow tubing. We also participate in a lot of festivals and promote Burke County through our festival tent, where we hand out information and talk about Burke County with potential visitors. In conclusion, I'd like to say we have seen and continue to see a significant increase in relocating couples and families, and weekend visitors here in Burke County continue to increase. In 2016, throughout this year, we had some goals. One of those goals was to recruit a new hotel, and I can guarantee you that you will hear an announcement on that in the next few months. Support and develop new tourism businesses as well as existing businesses, which we've done this year. Hike More Adventures, which guides folks into the Linville Gorge and the Pisgah National Forest, is fully licensed and the only outfitter in Burke County that is allowed to take people into the Linville Gorge on guided hikes. And then I get out and speak to civic and government organizations on the economic impact tourism has in our community. And we continue to try to track effectively the impact that tourism has on Burke County. That's the end of my report. I'll be happy to take any questions.
All right, thank you, Ed. A great report. Any questions for Ed from the Commissioner?
Excellent report.
All right,
Thank you.
We'll accept this report as presented. This brings us to item 7, scheduled public hearings. We have 2 public hearings tonight. First one is in relation to a request for placement of a no-wake zone buoy on Lake James and a public hearing. That'll be presented by Brock Hall. Brock.
Thank you. I'm a little overwhelmed with all the information that's come so far tonight. I'm afraid my presentation is not going to be quite as exciting. But as you know, we've received a request from Keith and Karen Smith of 1641 Linville Point for approval and placement of a no-wake zone buoy on Lake James at Linville Point and Sherman's Hollow Cove. In accordance with Wildlife Resources Commission's requests of this type must be approved by the Board of Commissioners in the form of a public hearing and with a resolution following the public hearing. If approved, the resolution is forwarded to North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission along with an application for placement of the buoy. Preliminary investigations by the Wildlife Resources Commission support placement of a no-wake buoy at this area. The budgetary effect is none. The requesting party is responsible for the fees for placement of that buoy, and in accordance with, as a result of Commissioner Taylor's request, I did check with Wildlife, and that runs about $250. $250 for placement of a new buoy.
Thank you.
And with that, I'll take any questions the board may have.
All right, any questions for Brock before we open the public hearing? Hearing none, at this time we'll open the public hearing. Is there anyone here to speak to this matter? Please come forward, state your name, and we'll hear from you.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Ken Korn. I'm a resident of Sherman Hollow Cove, and it's a pleasure to speak with you on a new topic tonight. On behalf of all my neighbors who fear for their lives when they swim around their docks, thank you for considering Resolution Number 2016-19, supporting the establishment of a no-wake zone on Lake James at Linville Point and Sherman's Hollow Cove. Burke County Commissioners have proven to be good stewards of Lake James, adopting progressive and thoughtful regulations which protect this scenic body of water and guarantee its enjoyment by visitors for years to come. Your forward-thinking conservation efforts have made Lake James an even more popular destination for boaters, kayakers, swimmers, and fishermen. This resolution affords you an opportunity to be equally vigilant and forward-thinking in your efforts to make Lake James a safe destination for all visitors. Here are some figures to give you an idea of the concentration of watercraft entering, traversing, and exiting Sherman's Hollow Cove and Linville Point. Paddling around the cove last weekend, I counted 35 docks, to which were moored 54 power boats and personal watercraft. As you may know, the Burke County Planning Board recently approved the development of a new residential area in the back of Sherman's Hollow Cove called Water's Edge. Another 21 dock permits have been approved for this subdivision. For such a narrow body of water, the amount of boat traffic from property owners within the cove is already high and about to grow even more. Add to that number the traffic from those seeking a peaceful swimming spot, and the situation is ripe for tragedy. Wildlife resource officers have stated that a properly marked no-wake zone creates a more recognizable, more enforceable water safety zone where boaters tend to observe the rules. For the safety of thousands who come to enjoy the waters of Sherman's Hollow Cove each year, I urge you to adopt this resolution. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Korn. Anyone else here to speak to this matter? Yes, sir. Come forward, please. State your name.
Good evening. I'm Roger Hall, and I'm usually up here in front of you guys with my architect's hat on, but tonight I have the hat on as a property owner in Burke County. We actually are property owners in this cove and love enjoying the beautiful lake, and spent many hours floating out in this cove, and we would like to go on record as supporting the adoption of this resolution very strongly. I can echo the sentiments of your previous speaker that having been there quite a bit and seen the traffic, that especially with the increased permits for docks, excuse me, that I think the no-wake zone will certainly slow the traffic down and make it a much, much safer place for all of us to enjoy here in Burke County. So thank you very much for your consideration.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Holland. Anyone else to speak to this matter? Seeing no one else, we'll close the public hearing. And Commissioners, you have before you the resolution number 2016-19. What is the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Vice Chair, I move that we adopt the resolution number 2016-19.
You've heard Maynard's motion. All in favor, show by the uplifted hand, please. It's 5-0, Madam Clerk. Okay, our next matter for public hearing tonight comes from Western Piedmont Council of Governments and Laurie Powell.
Good evening, Chair, Board. Tonight we are here to have the closeout of the Burke County Commerce Fellows Training Grant, and this grant was applied for last year, and it was originally awarded for $27,476.01. And this money was to use to train Burke County employees and other local government employees. Emphasis on improving opportunities for low and moderate income individuals. These individuals that attended the School of Government in Chapel Hill were able to learn new information to bring back to the county and the towns that they work in. CDBG funds financed 100% of this. The county did not have to spend any funds on this. And so basically we're going to be closing this out tonight, and we are going to be de-obligating some funds because we didn't spend all the money, because it would only pay for meals and mileage because the School of Government paid for the hotels and the schooling. So.
All right, thank you. I believe if my memory is correct, our clerk helped us get this grant, and it was a great job. You've heard this. Any questions from the commissioners? Hearing no questions, we'll open our public hearing. Anyone present to speak to this matter? Seeing no one present, we'll close the public hearing. And so we'll need a motion to deobligate and return $816.72 plus or minus cent in grant funding to the North Carolina Department of Commerce, Rural Economic Development. What's the pleasure of the board?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
You've heard the motion from Commissioner Abley. All in favor of the motion signify by the uplifted hand. Thank you. It's 5-0. Now we need to approve the closeout documentation prepared by the Council of Governments for the 2015 Community Development Block Grant Commerce Fellows Training Grant 02D2679 and authorize the chairman to execute on behalf of the board. What's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Vice Chair, so moved.
You've heard the motion by Mr. Taylor. All in favor, signify by the uplifted hand. That's all of us, Madam Clerk. Thank you. This brings us to item 8, informal public comments. Madam Clerk, do we have anyone for public comment tonight?
Yes, Mr. Vice Chairman and members of the board, we have one speaker tonight, Ms. Judith Glenn.
Good evening, and thank you for your time. I appreciate it. The last time I was here, my sister and I were here, and we were heartbroken because the door was closed at the Veterans Service Office in the Senior Center. So I am here tonight to tell you that my heart is healed. The door has now been opened, thanks to your funding, of the Veterans Service Office. And Sunday, September the 4th, front page of the News Herald, new Veteran Service Officer, a natural fit. And I have met her personally, and this is Molly Eller, is our new service officer. And Sharon McBrayer wrote a beautiful, well-written article honoring her. And she has 14 years of service. And she stated, Burke County Veteran Service Office is a resource for veterans, spouses, dependents, and survivors. It is a good starting point for them when it comes to getting health care, dental benefits, medical disability, pensions, legal services, survivor benefits, Veterans Affairs loans, employment, adaptive housing, home care, military and veteran discounts, and much more. So you see, we just could not have made it without you. And I just wanted to thank you so much for that. And it's beyond just this, just the formal meetings and provisions for veterans. So now Valerie Keffer started in January 2016 a Veterans Coffee Social. So veterans gather at the Morganton Burke Senior Center, and we could not do without them. They're our greatest allies. We make a great team. And on the first Thursday of every month, we meet at the Senior Center for coffee and donuts, and our veterans meet. And some of them are there a little earlier, and some of you have been there, and I appreciate that. And donuts are provided by Ingalls, and the coffee by Starbucks. And Valerie said around the county of North Carolina, these events are an opportunity for our local veterans to connect or reconnect with other veterans, share their stories, enjoy the refreshments, but most of all, the conversation. And this speaks highly of our county, because when I look out and I see our band of brothers joining together and enjoying this, talking about this, that is heartwarming too. Everything's about the heart for me. And we have a veteran who is 86 years old. We have a veteran who is 26 years old, and every age group in between. Every branch of government is represented. Every branch of service is represented. And every military and war or conflict is represented, from World War II all the way up to Iraq and Afghanistan. So I just wanted to tell you that we are doing our parts, and we volunteer there, but the veterans are coming. The first meeting in January, we had 22. The last meeting in September, we had 38. So word is out, and it is a very, very good thing for our veterans. And I think that the veterans' publications say it as well as anything. This is our Purple Heart magazine that I receive in honor of my husband. And it says, respect and honor. And that's what I want to tell you this evening, that I appreciate the respect and honor that you have shown our veterans, and that we could not have done it without the Veterans Service Office. The mission of the Military Order of the Purple Heart is to promote goodwill, patriotism, and most importantly, provide the service to all veterans and their families to improve their status of veteran members, dependents, families, and survivors. This is the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Fund calendar. Every year it's published. And every year it's either bands of brothers or family members or comrades in arms. And I would like to share with you one of the names that is featured from the wall. And this is from David Abernathy in honoring his brother, Daniel Abernathy. You were my closest friend. I live knowing all that you missed, never forgetting your sacrifice. I know what a great loss we all suffered when you fell, and I suspect the loss is as profound regarding the majority of our fallen war heroes. It is the burden of the survivors to know the tragic cost of war. And I'm honored to be a survivor, I'm honored to be a Marine wife, and I'm honored to be here among the veterans and all of you who are so dedicated to honoring our veterans. But the Wounded Warriors, I think, sums it up. The greatest casualty is being forgotten. So please, don't ever let our veterans be forgotten. And you could not have done it without you. And I just wanted to say thank you so much. And now the door is open. They are greeted with a smile. They are welcomed inside the Veterans Service Office. And they are shown honor, dignity, and respect, which they deserve. And I want to thank you again for what you did to honor our veterans and for being veterans. And please come to our social the first Thursday of every month at Senior Citizen Center from 8:30 to 10. You are all welcome, and the band of brothers will never be broken. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Glenn. That's a great report, and thank you for all of your work and efforts as well.
That's all, Mr. Vice Chairman.
Okay, thank you. That brings us to our consent agenda. Mr. County Manager, if you'll go over that for us, please.
Yes, sir. We have 11 items. First, County Manager, Piedmont Natural Gas easement for FHEC. Number 2, DSS, request for funding for temporary financial assistance for facilities license to accept SA as directed by Sessions Law 2016-94, House Bill 1030, Section 12.c.7. Item 3, Finance, request to waive performance bond for cleaning contract. Item 4, Fire Marshal, resolution donating surplus vehicle to Burke County REACT. Item 5, General Services, Water System Asset Management Plan approval. Item 6, Health Department, new fee schedule for engineered option permit. Item 7, HR, Fire Inspector part-time. Item 8, IT Department, social media policy. Item 9, Tax Department, EMS collection report for July 2016. Item 10, Tax Department, tax collection report for August 2016. And item 11, Tax Department, release refund report for August 2016.
Thank you, Brian. Gentlemen, you've heard the consent agenda as read by our county manager. I'll move that it be accepted. All those in favor, approved by your uplifted hand, please. That's 5-0, Madam Clerk. Item 10 was removed from the agenda. That moves us to item 11. And I'll ask that we take those at the same time, items 1 and 2, comments and committee reports, and we'll start with Mr. Attorney.
It's a great meeting with all these honors that our county employees have earned, and it's just stunning. And it also has to feel good as for you public servants to hear someone like Ms. Lynn come up and tell you what a great job you've done and how it's affected so many people. And I just join in thanking you.
Thank you. Mr. Carson?
You have, pardon me, you have my library report. I think it was already placed in the agenda packet. The Water Board has met several times, and we're still doing taps in Burke County, which is a good sign. The building projects are still there. Tomorrow I'll be going to Asheville for the State Water Infrastructure Authority meeting. Again, we'll be discussing the bond package money, $350-some million, how we will decide to distribute that money. On a personal note, Mr. Vice Chair, if you'll give me a little latitude, I'd like to go back to the proclamation for September as Recovery Month. I would encourage everyone to become part of BSAN, the Burke Substance Abuse Network. As a family who's had to bury a child due to issues, it's sometimes the recovery is not there. And after that occurs, the recovery in the family never occurs. So the more time that we can spend with BSAN, the numbers are staggering that you presented to us with the substance abuse, to include alcohol, drugs, mental illness, which Tara can attest to in Burke County. I just encourage everyone to become a little bit more actively involved in BSAN if you can. Joe Marks is a hero in my book. Joe spends a lot of time doing what he does, being person that's in recovery himself. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair.
Thank you, John. Mr. Taylor?
Mr. Vice Chair, I'll make one comment, then go into my committee reports. I hope all of you read the newspaper today. How many of you read and saw where the 3-court judge, upheld that prayer could be held in Rowan County? And I think that, I appreciate that news, and I know it's the answer to prayer to some of us, and I just think it's something that we ought to be proud of and salute and say hooray about. That moves us forward. I will pass out, moving to committee reports, I will pass out the minutes from Parks and Recreation. And the real items in that we probably need help in will be in case report, because we have 2 vacancies that need to be filled on that. We had our Clean Air, Water, and Uniform Air Quality meeting this morning at 10 o'clock. And a couple of good things to report on. The transportation conformity requirements, we have met those requirements so long that no more reporting will be required. So that is just, I think that's such good news. The Air Quality Water Quality Conference was a little low attended. They had 63. They usually have in the high 80s, low 90s. Most of the responses from that conference said they really liked it because it was no cost. And there's two entities that pay the entire amount for that conference. 98% who attended the conference said they would attend again. So I think that's from the responders that they got. On the ozone PM 2.5 monitor readings, we remain in compliance. We were pleased as a group that, that even with the hotter weather for the summer, that we remained in compliance with that reading, so below the readings. The Volkswagen emission test settlement was around $4 million. If you have not heard, that was the fine. And the next meeting will be November the 15th at 10 a.m. You're welcome to join us. Partners Mental Health, we met Thursday night, and the two things that would like for Kay to include in her vacancies, they need from Burke County human rights, one person to serve on the Human Rights Committee and one on the CFAC Committee. We need both those positions, and they need to be from Burke County. And Mr. Vice Chair, that ends my committee.
Thank you, Commissioner Taylor. Mr. County Manager.
A few things, sir. Steve, do you have that presentation ready? This is just to update you on a couple of items. The C&D over MSW landfill closure project. We have a few pictures here. Landfill before the project began, soil on slope to be removed and stockpiled, suitable for reuse. You also have removal of soil to install the GCL covering at the correct elevation. Next is installation of the matting. You can see that picture. That's a huge area. The matting is staked in place and then covered with 18 inches of soil. They have to do this in 3 applications of 6 inches of soil each lift, they call it. So what you're seeing there is the first of 3 lifts of soil there in the upper right-hand picture. Your next shows the soil borrow area. The soil is being used to cover the GCL. Matting is being cut on site. The borrowed site is the future C&D expansion cell, so we're taking dirt out of one area, and that'll open up our new cell for the future. So we're maximizing efficiency. This project will reduce the construction cost of our next C&D expansion cell. This GCL installation is a 3-month contract. The project is ahead of schedule. The project should finish well before Thanksgiving holiday, weather dependent. The next C&D cell is the location of the cut area for soil used to cover the GCL matting, and this project will help reduce the cost of construction of our next CD expansion. Then for the library, you've got pictures there. Day 1, grassy wooded lot. Remember that? And then they established the site and put up the netting. Tree removal began and grading removal of trees for the building pad, and site prep begins there with the crane. The entrance from South Center Street, grading on the entrance to the site from South Center Street. Also, topsoil was stockpiled to be spread in the landscaping phase, so we're keeping soil there on site that's going to be reused. The building pad, it's a big difference than what it was when we were out there that day for the ribbon cutting and soil groundbreaking. Building pad, rear slope finish graded. The rear slope has been established and matting is installed. Building pad has been finish graded and footers are ready to pour week of 19 September. So just a little summary. The site preparation The project is closing out. The first signs of building should begin the week of 19 September. Building footer to be poured during the week of 19 September. The project just received its first NCDEQ soil erosion inspection, and the report stated the site was in good standing. No violations were noted. I also want to share with you that as of tonight, with the adoption of the social media policy, we plan to begin showing our meetings not only on the internet and through cable television, but also through social media outlet, possibly Facebook Live, and at some point possibly even Snapchat, to engage other audiences that consume their news and information through things other than what we're used to with television on their handheld devices. One other final thing, I don't know if you saw the Thursday, September 15th newspaper, but it had an article there about our EMS and our EMS crew at Station 7. Gentlemen, you were instrumental in making that happen. It provided a strategic location, and that's extremely important when you site an EMS station. Before, these people were coming all the way from down at the hospital. And by siting where we did, back behind the senior center, we cut off between 2 and 3 minutes of response time. And if you're having a stroke or a heart attack, 2 or 3 minutes may make the difference between life and death. So I think there may be an opportunity for us to build on this success in another area. And at the end of this meeting, I'm asking for a closed session.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. More good progress reports from Burke County. Mr. Chairman?
Jack and I both attended the travel and tourism meeting this morning. We're happy that Ed came and filled in the commissioners of the county on what's going on in travel and tourism. I don't know how Jack feels, but I think we all feel that we're just ready to jump off with tourism. I mean, we've done an excellent job all along, but as Scott works on his trails, we get maybe a lodge or some cabins at the lake. You're going to see us really take off on tourism, because people from Florida, one thing they want to do, they want to come to the mountains, but they also want a lake. And I think if we ever can get facilities out there, we're going to take off on tourism and probably double what we do now. So I'm really thankful to Scott that that's sort of his forte to have the trail system and whatever. And that's what tourists like to do. So, it's all natural and whatever. So I'm just looking forward to those days.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Carroll?
First of all, committees-wise, MPO, RPO has a meeting later on this month. Unfortunately, I'm missing JCPC meet earlier on because of doctor appointment. But I have some comments. The lady talking about veterans. We seem to spend a lot of time on honoring the people that are still with us. I don't know. We really don't have any memorial that really honors the people that laid down their lives in wars in foreign countries. For instance, in the Civil War, North Carolina lost about 650,000 soldiers. In the First World War, Burke County lost 10 soldiers in the First World War. Second World War, Burke County gave up 115 veterans who died on foreign soil. And in Korea, I think it was 12 soldiers who died in that foreign land. In Vietnam, we lost 17. So we really don't have a memorial to honor all those people. We have their names and how they died, but we don't ever celebrate Memorial Day for those people like it should be celebrated. And some of the families are still here of those veterans that died in a foreign country. In fact, you can go to some of these cemeteries. Memorial Park down here, down the road, has quite a few Burke County soldiers killed in Vietnam. One individual, Lieutenant Colonel Carter, he was awarded 3 Silver Stars. That's really unheard of in the military, that many, without going to a Medal of Honor. So I would like to see a program get started to build a memorial that will honor all our troops from the First World War through Vietnam. I don't know how much it costs, but I'd like to see it placed on the grounds of the old courthouse because I think that's where it should be. So I am working on something like that for the future, and hopefully we can accomplish that.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Carroll. Madam Clerk?
Thank you. Just one comment. Just wanted to remind everybody that the October 4th pre-agenda meeting will be held at the George Hildebrand Fire Department, 3 o'clock.
Okay, thank you. I did attend the DSS board meeting this month, and I would again remind you, if you have interest in foster care, we continue to have large numbers of foster children in our care in Burke County, and we have desperate needs for folks who would be willing to help those children. So if that's something that interests you, I hope that you contact our Department of Social Service and work with them in that regard. Also met with Smart Start Group. I included in the agenda the annual meeting. A lot of good work going on there as well for our preschool kids in Burke County. One other note I would make tonight, Little Bird says it's soon to be our clerk's birthday, so happy birthday to Madam Clerk.
Thank you.
With that, I'll recognize Madam Clerk for the vacancy announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman, members of the board. We have the following opportunities for citizens to serve on county boards or committees: the Hickory Regional Planning Commission, the Adult Care Home Community Advisory Committee, Nursing Home Community Advisory Committee, Council on Aging, Juvenile Crime Prevention Council, the City of Morganton Board of Adjustment and Planning Board for the EPJ, the Voluntary Agriculture Board, the Burke County Board of Adjustment and Planning Board, Child Protection and Child Fatality Prevention Team, the Burke County Parks and Recreation Commission, and the Western Piedmont Regional Transit Authority Transportation Advisory Board.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. With that, bring us to a need to go into closed session tonight to preserve attorney-client privilege, to discuss economic development matters, to discuss personnel matters, land matters, all under NCGS 143.318.11, A3, 4, 5, and C. Do I hear a motion to go into closed session? All in favor, show with the uplifted hand, please. That's all of us. Thank you, Madam Clerk. We'll take about a 5-minute recess before we enter closed session. Okay, I think we're all back. We had proper motion to come out of closed session. No action was taken, and I'll accept the motion to adjourn our meeting. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, no.